It's already in the cards. WSJ editorial board member advocates for Trump's third impeachment. In a column published late Friday, Wall Street Journal editorial board member Hallman W. Jenkins Jr. argued that a third impeachment of Donald Trump may be warranted due to the economic fallout of his erratic trade policies. Jenkins labeled Trump's tariff threats as ill-founded and asserted that they have harmed U.S. economic credibility. A future Trump impeachment seemed all but guaranteed by last Wednesday morning. It seems only slightly less likely now, Jenkins wrote, suggesting that another impeachment may be desirable to restore America's standing with creditors and trade partners, describing Trump's current economic direction as a departure from his earlier promises. Jenkins stated the president's last great achievement was being re-elected in 2024, but since then, his actions have contradicted the promise of a new golden age. As Jenkins put it, impeachment is already in the cards. He further criticized Trump's tariff agenda as unrealistic, saying no consensus or even significant coalition exists for trying to force into existence a new American golden age with tariffs, which anyway is like asking a chicken to give birth to a lioness, referring to conservative historian Niall Ferguson's harsh assessment that Trump's trade stance had gone full retard. Jenkins offered his own term, "I go with neurotic," for the word's wider applicability to any leader who fabricates a gratuitously ambitious mission to meet his misguided sense of importance. He emphasized that even Trump's inner circle doesn't appear to genuinely support his tariff policies, which makes sense only in a world that doesn't exist, where other countries don't retaliate. Jenkins concluded by drawing a connection between financial markets and constitutional checks. The founders never anticipated today's instantly responsive trillion-dollar financial markets, and yet these markets neatly adumbrate the founders' scheme of checks and balances. Mr. Trump, still sane enough to appreciate what's good for Mr. Trump. Listen this week to their feedback.
Trump declares no tariff exemptions as administration clarifies confusion over electronics. Donald Trump firmly declared Sunday that no country, including China, would receive tariff exemptions, countering earlier confusion stemming from a Friday notice that seemed to spare electronics. Nobody is getting off the hook for the unfair trade balances and non-monetary tariff barriers, especially not China, which by far treats as the worst, Trump posted on Truth Social. The Friday notice had appeared to exclude items like smartphones and laptops from Trump's 125% import tax on Chinese goods and the broader 10% global tariffs. However, the administration clarified Sunday that those products remain subject to other levies. There was no tariff exception announced on Friday, Trump stated. These products are subject to the existing 20% fentanyl tariffs, and they are just moving to a different tariff bucket. He added, "We are taking a look at semiconductors and the whole electronics supply chain in the upcoming national security tariff investigations." Trump, 78, insisted the US would not be held hostage by other countries, especially hostile trading nations like China, accusing Beijing of attempting to disrespect the American people. Commerce Secretary Howard Lutnick reinforced the president's message on ABC's This Week, stating that electronics would be covered under upcoming semiconductor sector tariffs. Those products are going to be part of the semiconductor sectoral tariffs which are coming, Lutnick said, noting electronics will receive a special focused type of tariff to make sure that those products get reshored. While Lutnick acknowledged that electronics were exempt from the reciprocal tariffs for now, he emphasized it's not a permanent exemption. This is not like a permanent sort of exemption, he clarified. The goal is to encourage domestic production. Despite the brief pause on tariffs for tech, experts say relocating electronics manufacturing to the US would be a massive challenge. Apple, which produces more than 80% of its devices in China, has already lost $640 billion in market value since the tariff announcement. Bank of America estimates that producing the iPhone 16 Pro Max in the US could raise its cost from $1,199 to roughly $2,300, while Wedbush suggests the price could soar to $3,500 due to increased labor and infrastructure costs. Apple has already begun shifting logistics to stay ahead of the changes, chartering flights to deliver 1.5 million iPhones from India to the US, reflecting its heavy reliance on a global supply chain and the difficulty of rapid production changes.
If you like this news and want more updates relating to this, please like, share, and subscribe.
SNL mocked Donald Trump's tariff policies in a chaotic, Easter-themed cold open, continuing the satirical streak from the previous week's Liberation Day sketch. James Austin Johnson reprised his role as Trump, joining a biblical scene where Jesus, portrayed by Mikey Day, was casting out the moneylenders in Jerusalem. The moment froze as Johnson's Trump appeared, quipping, "Remind you of anyone? I also got rid of money last week, but instead of one temple, I did a whole country, maybe even the globe. The money's gone." Introducing himself as your favorite president, Donald Jesus Trump, he again likened himself to Christ. Many people are even calling me the Messiah because of the mess I made out of the economy because of my beautiful tariffs. They're so beautiful. They were working so well that I had to stop them. He added, but now everything is back how it was minus a few $1 trillion. A historic transfer of wealth from the middle classes to my buddies. Oh well. The sketch continued with Trump comparing the stock market to Jesus. It died. Then on the third day, it was risen. And then on the fourth day, it died again, possibly never to return, like Jesus. He joked about the current economy. Jesus Christ is a name we're saying a lot lately. We look at our 401k and say, Jesus Christ, where did it all go? Johnson's Trump tried to break his fellow cast members, still frozen behind him, and riffed on Easter traditions. We love Easter, we love bunny, we love hunting for eggs, just like everyone's doing in the grocery store right now because they cost $1 billion. Other jokes included a jab at his health. I had my annual physical this week. They said I am in great shape, one of the best shapes, lump. Returning to tariffs and Easter, he proclaimed, but in the holiest of seasons, Easter, let us remember the lesson that Mr. Jesus taught us when he went buck wild on those money changers. We must never mix religion with commerce. He added, you can read all about that in my Trump Bible, now made in America, so it costs $1,300, and it falls apart even faster. The sketch ended with the cast joining Johnson to shout, "Live from New York, it's Saturday night." This episode was hosted by John Hamm, with Lizzo as the musical guest.
Canada sees its first tornado of 2025 after weeks of severe weather and tornadoes across the U.S. It was only a matter of time before spring storms reached Canada. Despite several thunderstorms already hitting parts of the country, some even reaching severe status, Canada hadn't recorded a confirmed tornado this year until now. That changed on Saturday, when Alberta became the first province to see a tornado in 2025, even as parts of the region were still contending with snow. The landspout tornado, distinct from the powerful supercell-driven types, was photographed and filmed on April 12 before its confirmation by Environment and Climate Change Canada (ECCC). According to ECCC, a brief tornado was observed approximately 10 kilometers north of Rolling Hills around 5:20 p.m. MDT. Multiple reports and photos were submitted, though no damage has been reported so far. The tornado has been given a preliminary F0 rating. This was considered a landspout tornado that was generated by weak rotation under rapidly growing clouds or weak thunderstorms, ECCC stated. Landspout tornadoes do not usually cause significant damage but can still be dangerous as they can topple trees, damage roofs, or toss debris a short distance. Unlike Saturday's landspout, supercell tornadoes form in much more dynamic environments. But even without the hallmarks of a supercell, conditions in Alberta were just right for a landspout to spin up. Very cold air aloft and surface heating contributed to a sharp temperature drop with altitude. Though there was minimal convective available potential energy CAPE, just a couple hundred joules, that's expected in early season patterns. Even with dew points below freezing, the setup just screamed of landspout potential. It's believed the tornado developed along a boundary or convergence zone and became visible thanks to rapidly building updrafts. While often weaker, landspouts can still surprise. Picture a small column of rotating air or leaves at the surface. Seems harmless, right? But with strong lift above, the rotation can tighten, like a skater spinning faster by pulling their arms in. As tornado season gets underway in Canada, Saturday's event likely won't be Alberta's last in 2025. On average, the province sees just over 11 tornadoes per year. Interestingly, Alberta also saw Canada's first tornado in 2023, another EF0 landspout near Cayley on May 11th. Last year, though, tornado season began unusually early, with Ontario recording its earliest ever tornado on March 16 near Windsor, tying a provincial record.